If you look around my office, you might realize I have kind of a love for dark, twisted cartoons. And a lot of that may be because I grew up with a lot of dark, twisted cartoons. Now, I'm not talking about the ones like Batman or ones that were meant for older kids. I'm talking about the ones that were meant for little kids, and they probably should have been made for little kids. And I loved the hell out of them. I enjoyed how much they scared me. I loved how every time you got through one, you felt a little tougher. So I'm doing a series reacting and reviewing them. We're gonna analyze how creative they are, how dark they are, and if the dark, twisted tone was warranted. So join me in taking a look at some dark tunes. You know what SpongeBob needed? An episode like the beginning of Goodfellas. Nasty Patty was released in 2002. A lot of you have been recommending it, so I'm finally gonna look it over. Let's take a look. Now, I'll give you a heads up, I did watch SpongeBob in the early days. I haven't seen a ton of it. I'm not an expert on it, so a lot of this is mainly gonna be reacting to a lot of the darker elements of it. I couldn't find much on, like, the background artist, like in a Chuck Jones cartoon or anything like that. I know Kaz is apparently a big animator on the show, and this was his first episode, so that's the one that I know.
Oh, a dark and stormy night.
Of course, there's Jacques Cousteau parody with the narrator's voice, who I think is becoming like Peter Lorre. Like, I think kids are mainly gonna remember him from cartoon impersonations than his actual body of work.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was weird he was bathing in money, but then I remembered they're underwater. What else would Mr. Krabs be bathing in?
Clean the floors! Change your underwear! The health inspector's here!
Something I did notice watching this again, just in terms of the designs, the eyes, of course, are usually the most expressive on a cartoon character, and you look at SpongeBob's eyes versus Mr. Krabs' eyes, and obviously the shape is different, but look where the shine is. Like with SpongeBob, he has blue iris around there to make him look really big, bright, and innocent, where Mr. Krabs, his shine is on the top of his eyes, where a lot of characters, like anime characters or Disney characters, they usually have it like in the upper right, the little glisten, the reflection of the light. Mr. Krabs always has it on the top, which is interesting. I think it gives him a bit more dimension, but it's not, he doesn't look cute. You know, he doesn't look innocent in any way.
What can I get for you, handsome?
One of everything on the menu.
Excellent choice, my darling.
Of course, SpongeBob has a bunch of surreal running jokes, and one of my favorite in this is that he tries to sweet talk him by calling him handsome and darling and stuff like that. I love that. That's a great invention, the pen that's also a fork. That needs to be a real thing.
Be on the lookout for a man who's been passing himself off as a health inspector in order to obtain free food.
It probably goes without saying, there's a lot of Ren and Stimpy inspiration from this, and Ren and Stimpy, of course, got inspiration from Bob Clampett, and it just keeps going back more and more. But with SpongeBob, they actually took even the music, sort of the, not public domain, but there is a special type of music that you can buy in Hollywood that's super cheap, and they use that same music in SpongeBob. Maybe like a wink to Ren and Stimpy? I don't know, or maybe it's just cheap.
Join me, boy, or you're fired.
Oops, I dropped it in the toilet.
And I'll dry it with me gym socks.
He doesn't even have feet. Why does he have socks?
I call it the Nasty Patty.
Now, I may not be a SpongeBob expert, but even I know the legendary lore of the Nasty Patty. Everyone has tried to recreate this, either as a legit real food or just as a funny sculpture. This image alone is kind of lived in infamy for many, many years. And it is beautifully repulsive. I mean, that's a work of art. That should be hung in a museum. That'll get an emotional response.
Ah, hello, delicious. Come to Papa.
You know, he's not a good health inspector if he thinks that looks good. So we see early on a fly goes into his mouth, causes him to choke, and they think they killed him. And then later you see the fly out, and he's alive. I've always been split on this. Is it funnier if we think he's actually dead? The one flip to that is that it gives plenty of opportunities to hurt him more. Every time he's about to get up, he's always knocked on the head or a trunk hits him or something like that. So I've always been split on that because I think it's darker the other way if we as the audience think he's really dead. But on the other hand, there are a lot of great jokes that come from it. So what are your thoughts on that? Even the way they draw his eyes, there's only one X in there, because 2 X's would mean he's dead, but 1 X means he's only half dead, like Princess Bride, I guess.
That Patty killed him!
But you told me to give it to him.
Well, you could have talked me out of it!
You're right, Mr. Krabs. I'm guilty.
I kind of like that even though SpongeBob is still doing wrong in this, he's also kind of accepting the guilt. Like, he could have talked Mr. Krab out, but even though he said do it or you're fired, it's clearly his fault.
The fake inspector has been captured.
We gotta get rid of this body before anyone sees it!
It's kind of a nice contrast between SpongeBob, who's very naive and innocent and doesn't know about this. He's easily flexible and bendable to someone else's will, versus Mr. Krabs, who has clearly killed somebody before. He is way too calm and collected and knows where to go and how to do it. It's a little concerning.
Gross germs. It's all icky and corpsey.
I like these backgrounds here. There's not a ton of darker backgrounds in this, but I think they know you gotta go the old school Universal monster film backgrounds here. This almost looks like a cemetery out of like Wolfman. He's even got like the little lamp that he carries where he could just use a flashlight.
His head's sticking out!
Sorry, Mr. Krabs.
It's like the DARE program. It's supposed to show you what not to do, but it's actually giving you more information about how to do it. So kids, if you ever need to bury a body, watch SpongeBob. How can it rain underwater? For years they've held true to ocean science, but this jumps the shark. I'm sure that's an episode 2.
Can I lose my cool now?
Why?
What I like about this too is that it's not gory, but by using these kind of muddy greens and dark blues and yellows and grays and stuff like that, it looks worse than it is. He kind of looks zombie-ish and like he's rotting and stuff, but he's not. It's only the colors, and it's underwater, so you can get away with those colors. Apparently there was a lot of deleted scenes to this episode because it was just too disturbing, and even what did get released apparently was banned in some countries because it was just too uncomfortable. Which, I mean, even though he's still alive, it's not that surprising.
I thought you were out back, taking care of that shovel!
Well, the back door was locked, so I came around here.
A scene like this is great because not only is it clearly ridiculous sticking a whole dead body in your hat, but you also already know how squeamish SpongeBob is and how much he hates this, and he's just trying to do what needs to be done, so just the expressions on his face while trying to act like nothing's wrong, it's very, very funny.
Stop it! Oh, yeah.
The voice acting from Mr. Krabs is also great in this too.
You're killing me!
I'd love to hear that audio just on its own, not in the show, just on its own. I bet it sounds hilarious.
I almost forgot, it's open cash register night! First 2 customers get all the money in the cash register!
See, he clearly knows how to bribe someone as well. I mean, this dude has a history.
Ice is in the freezer, right?
There is no ice!
Nice shadow work here. This is looking very much like a film noir where this actually would be probably the plot of it.
Say, maybe he turned into a zombie and walked out.
See, I feel like this would be a lot funnier if we didn't know he was alive. But then you have this great punchline.
Hey, you guys.
Take that, you zombie!
That is pretty funny. I'm so on the fence with that.
And at the risk of being hit again, I'd like to present you with this.
That's a great way to work around not closing the place. Just he doesn't want to be hurt anymore. Like, he knows if he fails them, they'll probably try to get him to change his mind and they won't go away and they'll just hurt him even more. So it's kind of a fast, clever way to wrap this up.
Well, that's the story. Yes, they are all idiots, aren't they?
There it is, but maybe the darkest episode of SpongeBob. A lot of people tell me it's the darkest one, even though nobody dies in it. Just the idea of SpongeBob hiding a body that he thinks is dead is pretty grim and pretty dark. Like a lot of early SpongeBob episodes, it's very funny, very imaginative, it's got a good energy to it, and I do like some of the, like kind of the graveyard that they go to. I like the shadows at the end, but mostly I like how mean and out of character it is, but it still kind of works because SpongeBob is so naive and he's not very bright, so you can see him kind of easily being, you know, bent to this will, to Mr. Krabs' will, so, you know, to hide this body. So I think it's pretty funny. Like I said, I didn't grow up with this. I only saw a little bit of SpongeBob, and what I saw I liked, but I didn't see this episode. So, was this like a disturbing episode for those that grew up with SpongeBob, or was it just another funny thing, another goofy episode, or was that why it was funny, because it was, you know, kind of delightfully mean, trying to hide this body? Also, do you think it would be shown now? Like, I feel it would be. I don't think we've quite crossed that threshold yet of like, no, this is too adult. But again, it has been banned in some countries, so who knows? So, did you like this episode? Would you say it's one of your favorites, or is it just, you know, a good one? Or maybe do you dislike it? I saw like a review on IMDb saying like there's no, you know, just morally bankrupt and stuff like that, but that's why it's fun. Maybe it's a satirical review, I don't know. Anyway, what did you think of it? I really enjoy it. I like how mean-spirited it is, and yeah, more episodes of SpongeBob hiding a body. Let's get those going. Hey everyone, if there's any particular cartoon you want me to look at as being very dark or twisted, leave it in the comments below. Again, I'm not really looking for movie scenes or cartoons meant for teenagers or older. I'm talking about ones meant for little kids, but still scare the shit out of you. Whether it's an old cartoon or a new cartoon, let me know what you want me to look at.